My name is Timothy Cho. As a unique, kindly introduced about my little background, and I am a North Korean escapee residing in the United Kingdom, and so I've been in the UK for how many years? For 16, almost 17 years actually. I work at the UK Parliament group called All Party Parliamentary Group on North Korea. So I serve as the secretariat and as well as an advisor on number of human rights issues, security issues. If I go back to for 17 years my time in North Korea, what frustrated me mostly is that I did not know anything what outside looked like, and what I did not understand the language of human rights itself, or sort of understanding the lack of understanding within lack of materials and programs, literature, newspaper, books, any kind of document that was not able to read and compare, listened, that was completely absent. So it frustrates me today thinking of that. Now what the reality comes to me after my parents escaped to China due to political persecution, they had to leave the country. I was still boy, third year primary school, and came home discovering my parents escaped to China. Part of myself was going through the physical confrontation and suffering of this what society internally looked like. And after parents escaped and what the time of transition in North Korea, millions of hunger and starvation happened, and I had to living experiencing homeless life in North Korea a few years, sleeping at the train stations, at the stations, on the street, on the bridges, in train containers. And after that, I was also not able to attend school from age 10. The regime, North Korea, told me I was a son of a traitor because my father escaped to China. And I testified one of these my homeless life stories at the United Human Rights Security Council's sessions on North Korea. I've been to UN and 4 times, and 3 times I testified at the Human Rights Security Council sessions on North Korea. The story of what I testified was, I still remember it, and waking up at a train station early in the morning, and I felt my back was itching really, really badly, and asked my friend what was going on my back, and he told me many bed bugs burrowed under your skin, and bed bugs, they live at the stations between the wooden chairs, and they eat human blood. And once they go under your skin, I don't know how to describe what pain could be the right expression of these symptoms I had. So I asked him to kill them all, and he used the needle to poke each bed bug under my skin, and it looked terrified. But before I felt that pain, it was extremely. In the meantime, I saw 2 children next to me, 1 boy and girl. They could be about 7 or 5, and they died of starvation. They closed their eyes so peacefully and holding hands each other. And yeah, never forget. It was many years ago actually, and the bodies were collected by this city council in the morning. And there were many children. Still, there are many homeless children and people in North Korea. And yeah, that was part of what I experienced later. Then I went back to my grandmother's house, was able to live with her together, helping her farm, growing food in mountains. Age 17, I was hoping to join the army in North Korea, which you all know, and how many soldiers are in Ukraine at the moment. They could be one of them like that. And in North Korea, the national service is for 10 years compulsory. Every man must join it. But even that, the national service, every man must join this category of serve the Kim family and state. I was not qualified. They told me, your father betrayed this country. The nature itself, the system forced me to leave the country. And first escape safely arrived in China and hiding in a mountain in China a couple of nights, and then the group split into heading our journey, and full of expectations and scary, crossing the border to China. I had no idea what it would look like, and the first thing what I confronted, my first experience was that, and I arrived at a Chinese city market, and about 6 p.m. it gets dark, but the market area was full of spinning colorful lights and bright, and I was shocked as soon as I arrived at the market. At that moment, the first mind it came to me was that, wow, for the whole 17 years I was brainwashed. North Korea was the best country in the world and led by its great leaders of the Kim family. Now China was not safe, and I tried to go to cross the border into Mongolia and to be captured by Mongolian army, which then they could pass us on to South Korean embassy or a safe refugee camp where you could then make your choice. At the Mongolian border, where I met 17 other North Korean escapees, and 18 of us, as unfortunately we were not successful to cross the border into Mongolia. Before it happened, we were all arrested by Chinese military, all 18 of us, and among them 2 were 6 and 4 little children were there, and they were screaming when the Chinese military were shooting in our way, forcing us to stop, to run towards the border. And now we were sent to military prison camp for 2 weeks in China, and all of us, we made hunger protest that we begged them, we knelt them, please let us cross that border into Mongolia. Later, after 10 days hunger strike, they told us, oh, we will let you go to Mongolian border and cross into Mongolia. And they were afraid of, in case we were all could be died of by hunger strike. And after 2 weeks, they sent us Manchuria city prison. And from city prison, and we were also transferred to near Korean border prison. 4 days we were on a bus, and all men, boys, our hands and feet tied up to prevent escape. So 4 days, 24/7, 4 days, bus was not stopping to transfer us to the border. And now we're sent back to North Korea. I personally, I have to say, I haven't experienced gulags, but what I experienced the North Korean prison itself, which it went underground, could be, I don't know how many meters exactly. And as soon as I arrived, and the gate opened, and you could see how many the small cells they were inside the prison. It could be hundreds of them, and everyone looked very scary and fearful, did not want to make eye contact with one another. While I was detained in my cell itself, about over 50 people crammed, no space, and toilet was just next to us. We didn't have names. We were sleeping, leaning against each other's back. And next day morning, the man who was leaning against me, I discovered him dead. He was already tortured, and no medical treatment before I arrived. But this chilling feeling, and it's very strange. I still have that feeling sometimes. The man who died against my back, and his body dragged out of the cell through the corridor. I thought I wouldn't be able to survive, or I would be killed like him, which I imagined what consequences would come to me, because I was arrested at the Mongolian border, all 18 of us. I was the only one was sent to get out from this prison among those 18 of us. And of course, I left those hundreds of behind me. And I still also raise questions. God, why was me? You only I was alive. I survived from it. I could have been executed. I could have been sent to Gulag. And I'm still pondering. I was sent to my grandmother's house. I asked her to help me to make second escape. Meanwhile, North Korea at the village supervisor watching me 24/7. And a lady helped me to cross the border second time, because I couldn't walk this time. So second time come to China, and I didn't go to Mongolian border, but this time went to Shanghai. I met other 8 women on a train in Beijing, and 9 of us traveled together to Shanghai. We thought the entering international school in Shanghai. They could help us to leave China safely. So all 9 of us, because as we don't have passports, we crossed the border and the fence of the school illegally and went inside the school. And meanwhile, Chinese police was trying to dragging us out while we're crossing over the fence of the school. And when we're inside the school, now school was panicking, you can imagine. And all of a sudden, North Korean refugees entered the public school. All these kids started coming out, watching us. And we, in the meantime, we had one paper written, "We are North Korean refugees, please help us." And the school now is in something, emergency situation. And they spoke to probably somewhere US embassy and came back to us, told us that, and sadly, we cannot equip you in our school because this is not a diplomatic center. So soon many Chinese police arrived at the school and they forcibly dragged us into police vans. Now we were put into police van and sent to Shanghai International Prison. That was my 4th imprisonment I was experiencing from one prison to another. And now this is a Shanghai International Prison, and I was expecting to send back to North Korea 2nd time, and I would be executed if we went, because I went to American school. America is North Korea's greatest enemy, and that would have been the best example of in front of young children I would be executed. After several months, a couple of months, 2 men visited me in the prison, which I first thought they were from North Korean embassy, and it was scary. But when I went outside, it turns out 2 diplomats from outside South Korean and one Westerner, and they told me, "Timothy, we have very good news for you. Chinese government made very unusual decision to deport me and my group, all 9 of us, to the Philippines with a diplomatic passport." So this was very rare, never happened. Actually, North Korean refugees deported to outside the country with offering diplomatic passport. There was a behind the story of international campaign went massively. So the school made a statement after we were taken to prison. Then how did I become an activist? Why did I become an activist? Why am I speaking, doing this job is one of the most persevering jobs? But if I go back 16 years ago, I did not want to talk about North Korea. I did not want to tell people outside I was born in North Korea at all. No, absolutely not. There is full of trauma, anger, and hatred. I had that package with me. And any Chinese people I saw on public itself, I expressed my anger. I didn't even want to go near them because I experienced 3 Chinese prisons. But later I married someone who was born in China. And I could not forget who I left behind, that children we journeyed together, survived together, millions of them still in darkness, and I saw hundreds of them in those prison cells. And sometimes I feel they are on my back. And I believe all those North Korean escapees, we made the escape, only 34,000 all around the world. We all have calling. We have given that duty to take our mission part. And I strongly believe that. And I also take one part. And if I don't do it, I don't think how do I continue my life with those who I left behind, many of them. And I want to discover my victim and victimization. I am still remain as a victim, first-hand persecution, human rights crimes experience. What I tell the world, tell you today, or even went to EU, and now I work in UK Parliament, I tell the fact, what I experienced, how I slept, what I saw, and what journey I went on. It's the truth, the most powerful. It must be told. We're all going through a different journey of suffering. Maybe different part of journey you go through and I went through, but still there is the common humanity we share here, and we stand and support one another.